I know, guys, setting up the business in Dubai or in UAE in general is super challenging. First of all, because you just cannot find the information what you're looking for, right? It's like 1,000 bits of this and that, but nothing very specific. Exactly, this is the reason why we made this podcast with IFZA, one of the most popular free zones in UAE. In this podcast, you will hear everything about how much costs to set up your company, how much time it will take to set up the company, can you work as a free zone company with the mainland, and the most important question, how to open the bank account if your company is registered in the IFZA. Guys, watch this video and you will find out a lot of answers to your questions.
Setting up a company in the UAE can be overwhelming. I'm here in person today with Ben Hooper from IFZA, an efficient and popular free zone based in Dubai. Hi, I'm Kate. I'm the Global Strategy Director at Connect Group and Company Formation Expert. Ben, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Ben Hooper. I'm a Client Engagement Manager at IFZA, the International Free Zone Authority. Been there for coming up to 5 years now and been part of the journey from start to finish, or start to where we are today with IFZA.
Ben, can you explain to me what IFZA is and also what is a free zone?
Sure. So IFZA is the International Free Zone Authority. We are a free zone community within Dubai Silicon Oasis as a collaboration with them as an authority. So we had a journey where we were in Fujairah as an authority, and we decided to move all of our clients in 2020 into a collaboration with Dubai Silicon Oasis to give them a better license, to give them more opportunity to do business, and it created a mass demand. The difference, though, is that we are a free zone community, and again, within Silicon Oasis. So we provide company licenses, visas, and setups so that people can move and start their business here in the UAE or expand their businesses to the UAE. Within Dubai, you have 50 plus free zones. In different emirates, different free zones specialize in different things. Some free zones specialize or have a generic pool of clients. So we are a generic pool of clients. We can do everything from servicing to commercial, which we can get onto. And then you have other things such as mainland, which is a government license in the mainland where you're not restricted. So a free zone is restricted to the area that it's in, whereas a mainland is specifically to do everything within the UAE. There's no limitations as such in there. Whereas the free zone has small limitations into how you can transact and do the business, but then it also means that you have better ownership rights. So previously, the mainland on every single company had to have a local as a sponsor. Those rules have changed slightly, but still favors the free zone as it's always and will always be 100% ownership on the company. There's also many other benefits to that, but those are the differences between free zones and mainland, and also what's different and why IFZA is within the free zone element rather than the mainland element.
Okay, so IFZA clients, they can sell their product or provide their service in that free zone and internationally as well?
Correct.
Okay, fantastic. But they're restricted in a sense they can't sell all over the UAE?
Yes and no. So they can do business throughout the UAE, throughout Dubai, throughout Abu Dhabi, all the other Emirates. There's just the ways to do it. In mainland, you can sell a product and you can deliver the products, you can deliver the goods. In the free zone, you can still sell the product and deliver the goods, but you have to deliver those goods through a third party, whether that's a courier service or anything from Aramex to Kareem boxes, however it is, you just can't physically do those things in the mainland. There's a difference between service and commercial. So commercial being trading and service being professional and things like IT consultancy, for example. When it comes to the trading aspect, when you sell a product, you're not allowed to deliver those goods yourself. What you can do is sell that product and then have a third party to deliver those goods. 99% of those companies within free zones will be a B2B service. For example, someone might have a certain food or beverage product that they want to sell in Carrefour. So they would then create a trade agreement, whatever needs to be done between the company, the FZCO, the free zone company, and then the mainland company of Carrefour. What they would then do is when the product was either in country or made in country, however it is, they would then get that to Carrefour through a third party, not by the free zone company themselves. That could be Carrefour coming to pick it up or using a third party to deliver it to Carrefour so that then it can be within those stores within the UAE.
Okay,
whereas with services licenses, you can go and consult people. And then as long as you're doing the work from the free zone, whether that's invoicing, however it may be, then you can also work with companies in around the UAE.
So you can sell products if you go through a distributor in the mainland.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you can provide consultancy services or service-based activities as long as you actually do the service work within the free zone. So you can have a client outside, but you have to perform the work from inside the free zone.
Yes, correct. Okay. There was a situation many years ago where free zone companies had to do everything within the free zone entirely. That meant free zone to free zone and free zone to international only. I can't remember the exact date, but a while ago now, the UAE and the Dubai government made a new ruling that you can work with other companies and that you would just need to seek validation that you can do those things, which again is now a free will.
So as long as you have permissions, then you can...
Absolutely.
Okay. So what's the main industries for the companies that are set up in IFZA?
So we have an array of companies that are set up at IFZA, different industries, different things. First of all, let's remove what we cannot do. Okay, so we cannot do anything industrial. That means things that are being made or serviced here in the UAE. That sits with Silicon Oasis directly, as they have the warehouse space and the infrastructure for industrial. The other things we can't do, which is heavily regulated activities, such as anything in the financial industry, the investment industry, and insurance. As you can imagine, anywhere in the world, those type of industries are very heavily regulated. And those would go to places like Dubai International Financial Centre, ADGM. So as long as we're not doing those, which we can't because we don't offer the activities, then we can pretty much do anything else. Some of those activities come with approval that you would need to seek, and others have no approval and you can just have your license to be on your way. That can range from anything. So, for example, a very close friend of mine, he has a company with myself and with IFZA as a lifestyle coaching. And what he does is trades online and sells people courses and information and assistance, one-to-one training of learning how to be a better person, whether that is through fitness, whether it's through health, an array of different things. That's just an example. And then we could look at other things, such as the commercial side of things. So other friends I have underwear trading, swimwear trading, where they then use a third party in a different part of the country to create the goods. And then they use their company here as a base, whether that is e-commerce selling or bringing them into the country or to another country to then sell physically. They're great ideas, plenty to do, lots of different things that you're able to do. And it just creates a nice ecosystem at IFZA where people can set up one company and go down one avenue. And then maybe they have something on the side that they want to do. They can still stay within their free zone that they understand, they know how it works, and they feel the ease of how we work. We're a B2B free zone, so we want everyone to be like protected. So even our registry is closed, which is a benefit to clients because if you set your company up here and you don't want, so that's why we try to create a closed registry. That also means our clients can close. But we do have anything from single person setups to zero visa licenses, anything to big companies, so public listed companies. We have several companies here that have branches. They're a public listed company on the New York Stock Exchange, the London Stock Exchange, the German Stock Exchange. So we do have an array of clients. We do have a couple of big names that have a smaller presence here that want to have a base in the UAE and so specifically in Dubai.
So some free zones are very, very industry specific in what they offer, whereas some are more broad. IFZA is a general free zone. So for example, if you were going to have an activity such as logistics, you wouldn't necessarily go there. You'd focus more on free zones like JAVZA, DAVZA, KIZAD, for example, somewhere where there's a big port or airport and there's a lot of trading involved. IFZA free zone is very popular for activities such as lifestyle coaching, management consultancies, service-based activities and some trading, but not necessarily trading within the UAE. It would be more so if you had products going from China to the UK or something along those lines. Let's move on to costs. So the cost of a one visa license at IFZA, standard activity. Yeah,
so a standard activity at IFZA for a one visa license is 14,900 dirhams just for the company. So that is the company and then the allocation for one visa. We have a very simple price structure where it goes up in increments of 2,000 dirhams per visa allocation. That's not visa included, that's just the visa allocation. The fantastic thing with IFZA is we cap that at 4 visa license. From then up, we can do as many visas as people like. So we have clients reaching out to us who want to do a call centre and they want 300 staff, for example.
Oh, wow.
We can do that, it just then relates to office space. So we have a massive business park with 10 odd buildings around that number where people can then take smaller offices, main floors, whatever they wish to then allocate for the visas. So again, nice and steady. We cap the license fee and then it all comes down to the office space.
Okay, fab. So up to 4 and then office space.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Easily.
So the space for
yes.
one visa.
So that's what people sometimes get confused with. That's not your visa cost. That's not your total cost. That is just to have a company with the allocation that you can have one visa under the company. Okay. That's really important to know because the one visa license would then include a trade license, a certificate of formation, a ULA, which is a unit lease agreement. So that's a free flexi desk, virtual type flexi desk agreement. It says unit lease agreement on it. That means that the company can at least say we have a residence, we have a lease, we have somewhere where we
address to attach to the license.
Whether that comes to banking. And then you have your MOA and AOA, which is a memorandum of association and articles of association. Those are provided by us. That then would be 14,900 for those documents. Your company's alive, and then an allocation for one visa. From there, you then need 2,000 dirhams for an establishment card. An establishment card, other free zones or other areas, and people call them an immigration card. It's a virtual type card, isn't really required, and that opens the immigration portal on that company to allow someone to apply for a visa.
Okay, so it links your company to immigration,
Exactly.
essentially. Yeah,
and then you have the visa costs. 3,750 dirhams for a 2-year residence visa. That can be for pretty much any designation, whether that's a general manager, whether it's an admin assistant, whether that's marketing assistant, you name it. Then you have your status change, which isn't always required, which is really important when you're working out the process, working out the costs of your company. Because if you apply for your visa outside of country, you don't have to pay that. If you're applying for your visa inside of country, inside the UAE, you then have to pay 1,600 dirhams just as a fee to change yourself from a tourist to a resident, or from a cancelled resident to a new resident.
So better to start outside and then
Absolutely.
come in and then
Because the thing is, when you're doing it outside, it's also a lot smoother in terms of processing. The visa comes quicker, but then also when you land in country, you're ready to go. Whereas if you're inside the country, you have to apply for your visa, wait for your visa to be issued, then wait for your status change to be issued, and then move forward. But those are the costs. So 14,900 for a one visa company, 2,000 dirhams for an establishment card, 3,750 for a 2-year visa, and then 1,600 for a status change. So there are other things that you could do. For example, if you wanted to have an investor visa because you're the single shareholder of the company, you can add 1,000 dirhams to the cost, and then you can have an investor visa. That has certain benefits. The majority, or most people enjoy, is the fact they don't have to come to the country as often. So on an employment visa, it's twice a year, so every 180 days. With an investor visa or a partner visa, it's the same thing. You only need every 360 days. So it's very different. Some people don't want to be in the country as often. Some people are moving here. Some people are living all here, there and everywhere, and to keep their residency they have to visit the country a certain amount of times. So that's the difference.
But that doesn't include the medical or the Emirates ID, right? The consultant will book that for you.
Exactly. So then from there you need to then do your medical test and your Emirates ID, which can range. It could be 700 dirhams to 1,000 dirhams. It just depends which centre you use. If you want to go to a fancy centre where a robot serves you coffee, or whether you just want to go to some back end place, just get it done and dusted. But there are certain areas, again, for people with time conscious, they can go to certain areas called a smart salim, where they can go and do their medical test and the result within 30 minutes. So usually by the time someone has the test and the robot served them the coffee, a little robot that walks towards you, you'll then go to do your Emirates ID, your biometrics, so that's your fingerprints. Your result for your medical test is already done and issued before you've even done the biometrics, which is great because then you can start the next part of your visa process rather than having to wait several days for your medical test results to come back from other places. It just depends on your timelines. Some people want to be in the country and out as fast as possible. Some people are moving here, they don't have a rush. It all depends on a person's ability to how they also move. Because we can issue a visa and someone might be at a beach club for 4 days and then they wonder why their visa's taking so long. Well, Mr. Customer, you've been at the beach club or the hotel or wherever you've been doing desert safari, enjoying what Dubai offers for 3-4 days. No wonder your visa's not issued because you haven't actually been to go do your medical test.
You haven't done any of your appointments. I can't do anything unless you do those.
So my advice always with that is if you're in country, go do it. If you're flying in, land and go straight to do your medical test. Then go and enjoy the wonders of the UAE.
The amount of people that ask me what is included in medical tests, they think they're going to have to do like the bleep test or like run round a track, lift weights. Just a blood test and an x-ray. You don't need to do anything physical, it's okay.
The amount of people that expect the medical test to be like, I don't know, some sort of football sport.
What's it called, high rocks? Is that it?
You don't have to be super fit and healthy. You don't need to have a six-pack. It just is a blood test.
Otherwise
and an
we
x-ray
wouldn't
scan.
be here.
Exactly, So all it is to work out and make sure people don't have certain illnesses like tuberculosis, HIV, AIDS, and I believe hepatitis. It's a great way to work out that make sure that everyone in the UAE isn't carrying some disease
that can be transmitted,
which is transmitted.
I had someone, they wanted educational support services. And I was like, that's fine. A standard setup at IFZA is about 23,000. Then I will do the approval. I'll find out how much it is and get back to you. Told them the price of the approval. But I don't want to pay that. Well, I can't really do anything about it.
Of course. And we often do find that. And I think people have to bear in mind that many places everywhere else in the world, you have to have some sort of qualification or approval from somewhere to say that you are who you are and you're capable of doing what you're doing. It's very rare to go to a developed country and be able to just do something that has a high impact on other people and expect to just do it.
I want to teach people stuff. Are you qualified? No. I just want to teach them.
Go to any country in the world, majority of them, for example, a teacher is going to have a qualification. And if not, they're going to have some sort of course or degree to teach something minor. So it's very, you can't expect to come to the UAE, have a fantastic life, and we all love it here. but just be able to pick up and do whatever you
Do
want
whatever
without
you want.
some sort of approval.
I fancy being a doctor today.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
No.
Oh, I just want to be a doctor.
Yep.
I'm going to be a brain surgeon. Well, you can't just rock up and be a brain surgeon.
Not qualified.
You're not qualified.
No.
And if you are qualified, you still need to prove to us that you are qualified, right? So I think that's something to bear in mind.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Recruitment-based activities. I find this very interesting because only 3 free zones that I'm aware of offer recruitment activities. Technically, they're regulated, although there's no third-party approval.
Yeah.
Any idea why?
Not particularly an idea why.
Yeah.
Recruitment is a very difficult type of activity within the UAE in terms of licensing. There's not a reason or rhyme behind that. I think it's more to do with the fact of they want to make sure that certain areas in Dubai have more of a luxury of being able to promote and have that. Because recruitment is so heavy in the UAE, with lots of people moving here. I mean, thousands and thousands of people every month move to the UAE. I think that they want to make sure that there is a monopoly of where you can set up a proper recruitment setup. There are ways around it, and not for in a bad way to be around it, but there are places where you can then go and take something different. Again, it depends on how you do the business. There's plenty of people that provide human resources consultancy, where they are not necessarily directly recruiting someone, and they might be providing a company information and consultation around their recruitment side without directly recruiting someone. And what you'll often find in the UAE is when you're speaking and setting up a company, that not everything that you do is as it says. Like we talked about recruitment consulting. Someone will call up or speak to you and say, oh, hello, I'm doing a recruitment company. They're not actually recruiting. Their company is a recruitment company, and they think that that's what they're doing. And as you delve deeper, you'll find out that they're not recruiting. They are providing some sort of consultancy or data or information so that a client of theirs can make an informed decision on their recruitment. Again, that can be in any industry. You'll often find that with other things, such as any sort of trading activity. Someone says they're trading X, Y, and Z. These are the categories we're trading. And then you decide and you find out that they are trading those things, but they're trading it in a different way, which means that they don't need either a mainland license or they don't need a free zone license. So that's where then it dictates what they do. Because again, it's about breaking it down and finding out not only what you do and your overall company, but how you do it. I'm sure you've been to networking events where you meet people, you speak to them. Oh, what do you do? What is it that your company does? I'm a CEO, I do this. Oh, right. But how do you do it? And then once you delve into that and how they do it, you find out that they might not be the company that they said they actually are, because what they're doing and how they're doing it is actually in a different avenue.
Okay. Real estate is another interesting one because I know 2 free zones that offer real estate activities, and it makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah, so real estate is a bit of a tricky one again, mainly because of the approvals coming from RERA, the Real Estate Regulatory Authority. That's because they have certain parameters that they want to make sure that the real estate industry, despite how, maybe my opinion, but how cowboy the industry can be at times, there's not that many that are legitimate, decent companies to work for. It's a saturated market. So I think the idea behind RERA is to make sure that when people are setting up a company, is that they get companies that are heavily regulated, have to pass certain parameters, certain tests, certain information. And that's why it can be quite difficult. But for example, we can do some real estate companies and real estate type activities, and not all of them because of RERA's approval. Again, comes back to the last comment. It depends what that company's doing. So many people call up or speak to us or speak to you or speak to whoever and say, I would like a real estate company. But they're not doing a real estate brokerage.
Yeah.
They could be doing something completely different, but within the real estate industry. And that's where then it becomes, a different type of company.
Okay, so like personal investment, you do like investment in commercial enterprises.
Or self-managed property.
Yep.
Some people are buying property, putting it into the company's name, and then wanting to self-manage leasing that for themselves. They can get a license with us, with IFZA. Whereas a real estate brokerage, your classic real estate brokerage, where you're setting up a company, you have brokers, you're having listings, those then are a little bit more difficult because they need mainland as well, most of the time.
All the employees with waistcoats and gelled hair.
Exactly.
Hidden fees. To be fair, IFZA doesn't really have any hidden fees or anything that I've seen anyway.
I think the best way to describe it is people will set up a company, like I said, let's just call it for argument's sake 20,000 dirhams, and then they decide, gosh, Kate, I want to come to the country tomorrow. We have that all the time.
Panic!
People are impatient, they panic, and they go, we want to be in Dubai now.
Yep.
And you're saying to them, no, you can't, because the visa takes, on average,
there's a process that we need to follow.
Several working days. So then what you do is you can pay an extra fee to have that VIP'd. Now, that is an extra fee. It's not hidden. It's there to see.
Yeah.
The only issue that people sometimes say it's a hidden fee is because, oh, why am I having to pay for expedite my visa? If we could expedite everybody's visa, we would. We can't do that on 2,000-3,000 visas a month.
No.
Per day, that's an extortionate amount of visas.
Yeah.
People just don't have the time. So we have to allocate the VIP service to people who are willing to pay for it because, naturally, that's going to make you have the ability to spend time and have certain resources to do that. So that's always a pain, is when people say, I need to come tomorrow. I don't want to pay for it. Why isn't it free? Why is it a hidden fee? It's not. The fees are there from the beginning. We just want to help people out where we can.
Opening a corporate bank account with your IFZA license.
Yes, banking is the most fun part of setting up a company in the UAE. So notoriously, banking has been difficult in terms of corporate banking. Personal banking, a breeze.
Easy peasy.
Setting up, maybe not dealing with the banks. However, corporate is a whole different ballgame. That's because of AML, anti-money laundering. I think in the history of the UAE, there has been a lot of cases where the UAE has struck off or put the UAE on a grey list. Okay, so the EU put pressure on central bank and the UAE banks to have firmer KYC processes, have AML processes in place. So first of all, before we talk about certain banks and what is available to people, my advice is set up a company where your activity is solid. And by solid, I mean something that is related to what you're doing. There's so many times where we see people choosing an activity that is very generic, or setting up a company with 6 or 7 activities. And one of them says fruit and vegetable tradings, and the other one says shoe trading. And then the other one says IT consultancy. How are those related?
They're not.
They're not, right? And also, how can you go to a bank and say, please open a bank account for me. Let me put my money into your bank. Let me potentially take any lines of credit moving forward. But I'm just letting you know I'm setting up a company that has 3, 4, 5 activities that are completely unrelated. Banker's going to go, that doesn't make sense. There's no direct line. So my advice is to always set up a company that has a specific activity related to what you're doing. If you decide to branch out later, amend the company later on. Don't think, oh, I might trade tomatoes in 17 months' time.
Exactly.
And chuck on vegetables trading. It just doesn't make sense. But then you have the banks. So banking, thank the Lord, has got a lot easier. So banking before was stuck to things like Emirates MBD, Emirates Islamic, ADCB, FAB, Mashrek. So Mashrek was once upon a time, and probably still is, a good solution. They had Mashrek NeoBiz, which was an online type bank account. However, fantastically, Weo Bank is here.
Save the day.
Yes. Now, we have partnerships with many banks. However, my preference on a day-to-day basis is Weo Bank. And the reason for that is that Weo Bank is like an EMI. So an EMI is a online money type system, which you'll see all around probably the world, but I know it through Europe. So you have things like Revolut, Starling, Monza. They're all online EMIs that now majority of people use personally, and now even more so majority of people are now using as a corporate account. That might not be their main one, but they are using them. So Weo Bank has come in, and at first people were a bit skeptical because Dubai and the UAE has been so traditional with banking. Where you have to do it this way and you have to do this paperwork and this paperwork. Weo came along, it's all online. You download the app, you upload your license, you upload a few other bits, and boom, 2-3 days later, your bank account is open. Bearing in mind that previously, a bank account, if you did it in 2 months, was a good thing.
That was a quick turnaround.
That was a quick turnaround. Now we're talking days, which is brilliant. They are, at the moment, still restricted on certain currencies.
They've got about 4, no?
Yeah, they've got 4, I think 4. And that's just growing. And that's just because when you start, you have to start with something.
Of course.
And then once you see the demand, then you can build on it. People also think about Weo, or when they hear about it, it's not traditional. It's not how the UAE has worked before. Oh, is this the right type of banking for me? Maybe not, but it's a start. And I think if you start and you're able to trade, you're able to create invoices, you're able to take payments, that's what your business is all about.
It needs to build history at the end of the day. At the moment, it's got no background.
And the fantastic thing with Weo Bank is it's backed by the central bank and Fab Bank. Fab Bank is the biggest bank in the UAE. So again, when it first came around, and still to this day, people are questioning, what about the traditional banks? What about Fab? What about ADCB? What about Emirates MBD? You can still use those. But Weo is backed by Fab Bank and the central bank. So you're not going to have any issues because it's not a separate entity. It's like a subsidiary of Fab Bank. So my advice is get yourself a WEO bank
Yep.
because it's quick, easy, and you can always then move and diverse into a different banking system if you needed to.
Yeah, you can at least start off with that, like you say, quickest way
Correct.
to get set up, make some transactions, 6 months to a year, move over, or in parallel, you can start
wanna
another
set
bank.
up, you want to set up a company, you want to move to the UAE.
Yep.
You do that. The last thing you want to do is spend it longer
Yep.
than it took your decision to move and then move here.
Yeah.
Or start here. You don't want that to be double the wait time to open a bank account.
No, of
You
course.
want to be getting going. And again, a lot of people come to the country, get set up, and then want to leave. They can do that with WEO Bank.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's the brilliant thing. So again, the main point of any business, the main point of any classic self-care and self-help is get started.
Yep.
And if you can get started with WEO, it's much better than waiting.
Yeah.
Because you can start then invoicing. You can start receiving funds. That is what a company is about. If you don't receive funds in a company, your company's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
You're going to be
exactly.
liquidating.
And you can worry about your Skywards miles off your card
Exactly.
later down the line.
Yeah. Get your business class
Yeah,
miles.
exactly. It's good though, your VIP services, because obviously we work with a lot of free zones and most of them offer VIP services, but it knocks off like 2 days, 3
Yeah.
days. Whereas your visa stamping can take it from potentially 5 working days to 1.
But we are lucky. We have a very good success rate and people use it a lot. If
Yeah.
we had issues, people wouldn't use it. But the worst thing is it's getting more and more and more. People are wanting to use it more and more,
Yeah.
which as a free zone is great for us, but it also then provides its difficulties in terms of manpower,
Yeah, of
especially
course.
for myself.
And if everyone wants it, then it's not VIP anymore, it's just a standard.
Yeah,
isn't
and
it?
especially for myself because people are reaching out going, Ben, we need this VIP, we
Yeah.
need this. And there's me going, that's the 17th one today.
Yeah.
And luckily we have a team behind and they're fantastic and they're brilliant. So luckily I can ask them for the help and the support and
Yep.
they'll do it. But because it works, we're actually getting more and more
Yeah.
of doing it.
So can you do the VIP process on all passport types, or is it limited to certain nationalities?
Yeah.
Is it?
So in theory, we should be able to, in terms of the system and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue is that with immigration, as with any country, not every person gets accepted for a visa, let alone a VIP service.
Okay.
So this could be an array of things. It could be a criminal record or issues in the past when entering the UAE, anything that's happened in the UAE, but also we do world checks. So any country they're from or they've been to, we can also see if there's something that they have an issue with elsewhere. But this also then extends to nationalities. There is a handful of nationalities which I think the majority of people would understand and would expect and would have on the tip of their tongue. Certain nationalities which are what we call mid-risk or high risk. That could be for an array of reasons. It could be that the country's currently at war or they have certain political issues there. Or maybe, for example, that they've have a current headlock and issue with the UAE. That means that then everything is a little bit slower. It's not always impossible, but for VIP services, we have to take that off because it's not likely that they're going to be done within 24 hours.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. Hard enough to get the visa, let alone do it VIP.
Hard enough to get a visa for those nationalities. So you made a really good point there, is that those nationalities would struggle to get a visa anyway.
Yep.
Not struggle, but there's a less chance.
Be challenging.
Yes,
Yep.
there's other nationalities that fly through. There's other nationalities that take a little bit of time. There's other nationalities which take a lot of time and can still get rejected. Those nationalities are definitely a no-no on VIP because we're not confident that we will definitely get the approval if it wasn't VIP anyway. No nationality is less than a 50% chance.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Is it more likely that those nationalities would get an investor visa over an employee visa, or does it not really make a difference?
No, it does make a difference. Anything from degrees and investor visas can help an approval. That's not related to VIP, that's just in visas in general.
Yep.
The other thing that's really important to know is that when it comes to the different free zones and different emirates.
Yep.
Okay, so Dubai uses Dubai immigration. It sounds very boring, but that's it. Dubai uses Dubai immigration. However, the Northern Emirates and Abu Dhabi, so that is Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, Al Quwain, Ajman, Fujairah, and Abu Dhabi, they use Abu Dhabi's immigration. Now, typically, again, unsure of any confirmation of a reason, but typically we see that a lot of nationalities are more likely to be rejected within those free zones because of Abu Dhabi's immigration than they would be in Dubai.
Okay.
Dubai has a lot higher success rate of visa and license approvals than the Northern Emirates do.
Okay. Is that just because it gets more use? Because people think Dubai is a country, not an emirate within a country, so they flock towards it? Or?
No, you'd like to think so. It's just more because of the immigration system
Systems
themselves.
and processes.
Yeah, Dubai is a lot more. I say a lot more. Who knows?
Yeah.
We don't know. No one really knows. Some people will at the higher end of things. But Dubai is a lot more lenient with who they let in.
Okay.
Now, leniency doesn't mean that they let in anyone. But compared to Abu Dhabi, the leniency of Dubai's immigration is a lot more enjoyable than Abu Dhabi's.
Okay.
Again, not a massive difference. don't want to sit there and say you won't get approved within the Northern Emirates in Abu Dhabi, but there's certain nationalities where we've seen people rejected in the Northern Emirates and then come to Dubai, come to IFZA, and they get approved.
Okay, interesting. So when people want to set up at IFZA, do they come directly to IFZA or they go through consultants? How does that work?
No, so we're very much unlike all the other free zones and the mainland. Any government jurisdiction, we are focused on B2B model, so business to business. The reason for that is that when we set up the free zone many years ago, we wanted to get on board with agencies. Now, there are thousands of agencies, not only in the UAE, but around the world, who are assisting people in expanding their companies to the UAE, or just moving their families to the UAE, or starting something fresh in the UAE. So the idea is that if we can then facilitate to our professional partners, is what we call them, we can facilitate our professional partners to deliver correctly the information to their clients, then we can do the hard work, which is setting up the company, making sure everything is right from the authority side of things. Because you guys want to speak to the clients, we want to make sure that what we're doing is correct by what you're giving us the information. It also means that we're able to manage things a lot better. So I would like to think, and I would firmly suggest that majority of our partners believe that we are the best working free zone just because of how we deal with them. So for example, like myself, I'm a client engagement manager. My job is to facilitate and look after our professional partners. So if I only need to, let's say, look after 50 companies that are professional partners, and then they have all of their clients, I only need to deal and look after 50 different companies, rather than probably more than double that towards myself would be direct clients, and they've got a lot more questions because they're not industry experts. Whereas we work with the industry experts, we can provide them information, they understand that information, and they can regurgitate that to their clients. So it makes a lot better relationship. It's also meant that all of our partners trust us. So it goes back to sort of COVID times. So during COVID, we kept our model. So when everything was struggling, we didn't change our model at all. That also meant that our partners really appreciated us because we weren't taking clients from them. That means that they've trusted us more. They've grown with us as we've grown. And as a result, we're now one of the biggest free zones within the UAE, just due to the fact that we look after our partners and we give them such good, clear, concise information that they're able to deal with their clients better. So my advice for anyone would be to reach out to an agency, a professional partner. They're the experts in the industry. They deal with multiple different entities. They deal on the ground. They'll be able to consult and provide the best advice, and then hopefully use IFZA, which we can then help you better.
If you have any questions about company formation in the UAE and how to structure your business, click the link below and talk to me. So when setting up the company, the shareholders don't need to be here, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The great thing with IFZA, and we were, again, one of the first free zones to do it, is we managed to get everybody to set up completely remotely if they wish to. So we don't need any physical presence, which means a client can sit in any country in the world, speak to their partner, their professional partner, and then set up the company remotely. That means they can do the application form to set up the company. We then send certain KYC documents for them to sign. They can do that digitally anywhere in the world. Then once the company's set up, they can then apply for their visa from anywhere in the world. Certain nationalities have a little bit more restrictions where they have to maybe go to their home country to complete it. That's very rare. There's a very small minority. But as a general consensus, you can sit in any country in the world, receive your visa, and then fly in, which means that the only physical presence you need is to do your medical tests, Emirates ID, and that's it.
So realistically, if they wanted to be in the UAE for the smallest amount of time possible, what? 5 working days?
Maximum. There's cases where it needs to be longer, of course, like with anything in the world.
But like not the exception to the rule, the general rule.
The general rule of thumb is 3 to 5 working days at once. Again, as long as they're not at that beach club, as long as they come in and do their medical test, 3 to 5 working days is the maximum time as a general rule of thumb that a client needs to be inside the UAE to complete their company and visas.
If they were here for like, let's say 5 working days as well, maybe they want to upgrade their office space, they could come and obviously view that IFZA
Absolutely.
as well.
So that brings us brilliantly onto what IFZA offers in terms of our property space. So we have the business park, which is called Dubai Digital Park. In that park is a great community of 15 or so office buildings, as well as several residential buildings, as well as a hotel. So within our business park, we have the main IFZA head offices. That's where people like myself sit, our operations department sit, our reception team sit. Then next to it, we have everything you can think of. We have nurseries, we have a fitness first gym, Radisson Red hotels, cafes, bars, restaurants. It creates then a lovely community where if people want to come in and visit, they've got places where they can go and have lunch, have dinner, have shisha. whatever they need to do. If they're flying in, if they wanted to, and they had business in our business park, they can stay at the hotel. It's 15 minutes from the airport.
Convenient.
So it's convenient that they can get off the plane, they can come to stay at the Radisson Red, they can then use our offices if needs be, whether they're hiring it for the day, whether they've purchased an office to rent for the year, whether they've purchased a desk space to use. So we have all of those facilities. We have small office spaces, which is just your generic one-man, two-man bands that just want an office space, whether they're using it or whether they're using it in small doses, to fully fledged offices, which are purposely built for certain spaces that they want to create their company and grow their company. We also have flexi desk areas, which are beautifully done, where people can come in and use them on an ad hoc basis, and even quiet rooms where they can sit and chill with beanbags and such. So it does create a nice atmosphere where we do have something for everyone within the vicinity. So this is our flexi desk area. As you can see, it's like co-working space. People can use this as and when they like. Nice area, purposely built. People can come and go as they please. Then we have a section over there as well, which can close off. It's a bit more relaxed approach, but then they can also, it's quiet off. So it's quiet in here anyway, but when they close it off, it's like a silent area really. So that's really helpful in that respect. If you have a company with IFZA, you get access to a 0-hour unit lease agreement. And then if you pay extra, you can get then a flexi desk, which is a 0 to 10-hour space or a dedicated desk. So this is the kind of the flexi area for people that can come in and out to use for the odd hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, whatever they need, to kind of use as a drop-in as opposed to a dedicated desk space. So this makes it a little bit different, a little bit nicer, without having to kind of book a room, book a space, book a desk. So it's just something different for people to have a relaxing working environment. So if you have an office, you can access here. However, you should use your office space. Obviously, because we have thousands, tens of thousands of licenses. And in those companies, you have however many people under the company. So there's only a limited space. But a lot of people like to work from hotels, cafes, bars, restaurants, maybe their clients' offices. So this is about as busy as it gets, really. But again, it's a nice opportunity. There's loads of coffee shops nearby, Joe and the Juice, Cafe Nero, Starbucks. So again, people find it a nice relaxed atmosphere to work in.
So for people holding an IFZA license, they can come and use all the facilities?
Yes, to an extent. So the brilliant thing with IFZA is that we don't require someone to be in the free zone. We don't require the persons to be daily working in and out. We have thousands and thousands of companies. If we had thousands and thousands of people, it would just be crazy. So a lot of people don't actually work within their free zone. They can be working from a different country or whatever. So when they come to visit Free Zone and visit IFZA, which they're welcome to do, they'll at least be able to see something tangible. Because again, if they set up through a professional partner, they don't know IFZA, they haven't seen IFZA, they just get given a license. So when they come to the UAE, they're welcome to come and visit, they're welcome to see what we have, they're welcome to visit the business park, have lunch, whatever they want. But they can also use some of our facilities. So if they wanted to sort of give credibility to their company, they can always hire a meeting room. Okay? So they can hire a meeting room and use that meeting room for however the allotted time. And they're all up to date with teas, coffees, you name it. So we look after our IFZA clients as much as we do our professional partners. There's also flexi desk areas. So it just depends. People can purchase flexi desks for a smaller time frame, for a permanent time frame. They can hire and lease an office. They can hire and lease personalized offices where they're tailored to how much space they exactly need. So there's a rule and an enjoyment for everyone to use if they wanted to. And then again, that just means that people can come and use the free zone, look at the free zone and feel like there's something tangible there. Because again, before all they've got is a piece of paper.
They can see that it actually
exists. They
exists.
can see it exists in a piece of paper, but they don't know what something is until they see it. It's like anything. You don't believe you've bought your car. Go back to the car thing. You don't believe you bought your car until your car arrives and then you go, right, that piece of paper I've signed, that thing is there. So that's really helpful. Other thing we have is an events room. So the events room is a nice big space where we have a stage, we have a big screen on the back and plenty of seating. There's also an area for like teas, coffees, which some of our partners and some of our clients like to use to create, whether it's a seminar or a networking event or whatever it may be. They can contact us, hire that out. We can then assist with putting on the event with them and for them. And then again, it creates a tangible effort for them to bring clients, bring friends, whatever it may be, to somewhere where they can show, this is IFZA, this is the free zone, this is also where my company is based. it then just creates such a nice atmosphere for someone, rather than potentially at a hotel where they might just be in the lobby, which is, again, nice enough for some people. Some people want to show something. Some people want to show credibility, want to show that their company is real and this is where it's at.
Yeah, or if you need an actual meeting room, like a conference room,
exactly.
something like that.
Yeah, because not everybody is setting up massive offices with meeting rooms and different rooms to go and have a quiet phone call. So some people would like to come to the free zone to then rent an office, rent a meeting room, and then use it so that they can show credibility.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you have to give much notice in order to do that? Or
several days is helpful, just purely because of bookings.
Yeah, okay.
But again, people can contact our reception team.
If you contact on the day and then it's available, you can use it.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's all just on availability.
Yeah.
And again, they can go through their partner to then speak. So they can call our reception and speak to our reception. And then we can look at the timetable and work out when a solution works for both the client and for IFZA's availability.
And there's operating hours or opening hours? Sorry?
Yeah, so there's two. So you've got the operating hours of kind of the free zone itself, which is roughly like 8 till 5, 8 till 6. But then...
You're never in the office till 6, Ben.
I'm never in the office till 6. My phone works past 6. But we also have the reception desk. So for clients and our professional partners, the office is open from roughly 7 in the morning till about 8, 9, 10 at night.
Oh, so late then?
Yes. Okay, and on the weekends, it's also open roughly from 8 till 6, 8 till 8, depending on the day. Okay. It does mean that if a client really wants something and really needs something, they can come to our office. It might be that we can't do anything about that at the time because immigration isn't open or something that they actually seek isn't available at the time. But at least they can be seen to, at least they can be heard, and at least then we can move forward when those working hours are back open. So this is where all of our agents and clients come. They come to process paperwork. It could be anything from attestation, so stampings, to collecting of documents. In the past, it would be to drop visas off. That's no longer a requirement, which is great because it means we have less footfall here. But we tried to create a nice space where people can grab coffee, we can look after them, we have meeting rooms that we can go to take them as well. And then the staff are all trained throughout sort of the company so that they can assist with any inquiries. The great thing is, though, this is not as busy as it could be because we deal so well with our partners outside and online and via phone calls.
So whenever I've come to IFZA, everything is completely brand new. You have IFZA logos everywhere, but you also have logos for like Silicon Oasis and Dubai Digital Park. What's the connection there?
As I mentioned previously, we were a free zone in Fujairah as an authority, and then we moved to Dubai and collaborated with Silicon Oasis. Okay. Silicon Oasis is the authority, and then we collaborate with them to provide licenses to clients and partners alike. Okay. So when we moved there, Silicon Oasis had this beautiful area called Dubai Digital Park, which they had purpose built and wasn't really being used at the time. So then we've collaborated with them to take over much of Dubai Digital Park, to have our offices, to have clients' offices. And as a result, that's created more footfall, which has then created more demand for all these different services. Salons, gyms, food, beverage, you name it. That's the connection we have with them, is that they've created and built this many years ago, and we've then come in, worked with them to create a community within Dubai Digital Park.
Nice. IFZA Free Zone always has different like promotions and discounts on, right?
Sure.
So do you have some ones that are like more common than others, or?
Yeah, so we've always been promotion led. We always try to do something. That's to benefit the clients. We also know that setting up in the UAE is actually quite expensive in comparison to other countries. So before we get onto promotions, let me just mention that you set up a company, most places in Europe, you're not looking more than
£100.
£100, €100 really to set up a company. Whereas within the UAE, you're talking thousands. However, there's no income tax and there's corporate tax newly added, but that's at a very low rate.
And you get small business relief.
And you get small business relief. So there's all these things around corporate tax, which means that when you're setting up a company here, it is more expensive, but then you have the benefits of it. As a result, we then try and do what we can to make it a little bit more comfortable for our clients through our partners. And that could be certain times of the year we've done a 15% off the license cost, or a countdown where it's 20% in the first 2 weeks, 15% in the last 2 weeks, or vice versa. But our most common promotion, which we've ran on and off for several years, is the free visa for life. Okay.
People love
the free visa for life. It's such a good promotion because it benefits everyone involved. So the free visa for life is more of a free visa for life as long as the company is active.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So people mistake it as just being able to just get a random visa and it's free forever.
You have your company for a month, close it down, and then you've got the visa forever.
As long as the company is active, IFZA will pay on the client's behalf the visa fee, the
Yep.
3,750 dirhams visa fee. That doesn't include medical tests, it doesn't include Emirates ID,
that's fair enough.
it doesn't include status change, and it doesn't include the investor costs, which sounds like a lot of things it doesn't include. But it's
realistically, it could just be that, and then you pay 700 dirhams for your medical test.
exactly.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's the great thing, is that when you're setting up outside of the country and you're paying for the license and the establishment card, at times that could be it. You'll pay for the medical test and Emirates ID when you're in country, but as a setup point of view, that's it, which then reduces the cost by 3,750 dirhams.
Yeah.
So we have that sporadically at times. For example, as we speak, we currently have one visa for life for free, as long as the company's active, on all 2 visa licenses and above. So someone can take a 2 visa license, and then one of the visas is free. They don't have to use that second visa right now. They can use that at another time. Let's just say they wanted to upgrade later on. They already have the allocation, but they've saved themselves 3,750 dirhams on a 2-year visa.
Yeah,
So
I was working out the costs yesterday, actually, and it's actually cheaper for you at the moment to do a 2 visa quota license with the free visa for life rather than the 1 visa quota license with the paying your visa costs.
That's correct, yeah. So that means that, again, let's just say someone takes a 1, as we speak, this is the current promotion. So someone takes a 1 visa license, they have to pay for the visa. Fine. They're expected to. That's the normal costs.
Cool.
Someone takes a 2 visa license currently, they get 1 free visa for life, which they can use. So let's say myself, I take a company for 2 visas, I get my visa free for life, as long as the company's active. The second visa, I might not need at the moment. 6 months, 7 months down the line, I decide, Kate, please come along, I'd like to hire you. Now I can pay for your visa, but I don't have to amend the company because the company already has the 2 visa allocation. So despite it being slightly more as a license cost, it's actually financially better overall. And then when you do look to upgrade your company, you're also saving on the fact that you don't need to amend the license. So it's a win-win for everyone. And we often do these things throughout the year. 1 month we might have it on all, sometimes it's a percentage, whatever it may be, but we'll always be having something. Majority of the time, there's been the occasional month where we don't, but we do have something usually most of the time, just so that clients can make sure that they feel less of a burden of spending their hard-earned money on setting up a company here, which can be quite expensive.
I have another question regarding visas. At the moment, most jurisdictions are only allowing 1 investor visa.
Yes.
Yeah? IFZA is the same?
Yes.
Okay. Why is that?
An investor visa is for a single shareholder.
Okay. Or partner visas, sorry. Even partner visa as well. They're only allowing 1.
Not sure why other free zones aren't allowing it. We allow partner visas and we allow up to 3 partner visas. So just for clarity, an investor visa is a visa for an investor. Sounds self-explanatory, but for a single shareholder of a company. So again, I set up a company, I'm the single shareholder, I own everything, and then I can set up an investor visa. That means that everyone will know when I come flying around the world with my visa, it says investor. It also means that I don't have to come to the country only once every 360 days. I can also get the same type of visa, but as a partner, which means I'm a shareholder, but there's multiple shareholders. So for argument's sake, you and I are shareholders on the company, but we both want the benefits of the investor visa. So we take the partner visa. That means, again, you and I don't have to come in the country
once a year.
That's it. And other benefits. So we allow, at the moment, up to 3 partner visas per license, which again, other free zones aren't doing. So we're trying to be adaptive. We're trying to be different. We're trying to showcase that we are the free zone to go to.
Yeah, makes sense. So how do companies based in IFZA connect with other companies? Like, is there any events you hold or any people you can refer them to? I don't really...
So we don't do that many events personally at IFZA, mainly because we're a B2B free zone. So we work with yourselves as professional partners. However, we do have on the odd occasion certain events linked to clients, whether that is polo season. Sometimes we have clients come to that on their own, and other times we have with business councils. So certain business councils, we work with a lot of them. They provide events. They might provide an event with IFZA in collaboration with IFZA, or their own events, and we work with them. So when a client has an IFZA license, they can speak to their council. Let's just say someone is German shareholder, and they want to speak to AHK, which is the German Business Council, for example. They can then speak to the German Business Council and let them know that they have a license and set up a company with IFZA, and they'd like to participate in some events. AHK will take them under their wing and at least introduce them to certain other people that are within that business council, which again is great because you move around the world, to the other side of the world, half around the world, whatever it is, and you come to a country where you maybe don't know that many people, maybe not familiar with people of your same nationality, which again, we all like our home comforts. You go to a business council and you get to speak to someone, you go to the Spanish business council, and the majority of them are going to be speaking Spanish and get that home comfort. Maybe they know someone, they know of someone, and they create connections, they network. There might be other companies that they can work with. So we're able to then assist and make sure that those business councils know about IFZA, how much we provide for them, how much we do licenses that are linked to their business councils, and then they can run away with that.
Yeah. In your opinion, what is attractive at the moment about setting up your company and moving to the UAE?
Oh, where do I start? It's just...
The UAE's number one fan.
I love being in the UAE. I've lived here for many years now, and I couldn't think of leaving at all.
Yep.
Before we get into the company side of things, it's safe, it's calm, it's enjoyable. We have the city life, but we also have the relaxing approach. It's a better way of living, better medical, better schooling. You name it, there's not many things that another country does better than the UAE, and specifically Dubai. If you're in Europe, you'll have seen the effects of different taxations. Forget companies again for the minute, even just personal income being taxed heavily.
Yep.
As a result of the pandemic, governments are becoming more and more strict on what they're asking of their residents to pay towards it.
Yep.
To be able to move out of there and to come and live a much better life where you're enjoying yourself, everything's at the tip of your finger, everything's so accessible, but also everything is so enjoyable. I've never felt unsafe in this country. I've never known friends or family to feel unsafe. I have my family visit, and my nieces and nephews, they come over and there's no worry about them going to the park or being at the beach or going to a swimming pool. There's always someone around, and you also have no expectation of something wrong happening like you do somewhere else in Europe, specifically for me from the UK.
Yep.
Also, I believe the most amount of millionaires are leaving the UK
moving
to the UAE more than anywhere else in the world. That's a massive telltale sign. Not everyone is a millionaire, of course, but if the people that have money, heavy amounts of money, that run successful businesses, and they're looking to leave Europe, and their choice of area, country and place to set up their company or move to is the UAE, people should be listening.
And that's
just my opinion. That's my opinion, but also there's facts behind it. The fact that so many people are moving here. And then we come to the company side of things. Corporate tax around Europe is heavy. And at times is a lot higher than other countries around the world. The UAE now has corporate tax, but that's minimal. It's the smallest amount of tax that a taxable country has on corporate tax. So again, yes, we'd all love to pay 0% tax. And yes, this place used to be 0% corporate tax. It's now at 9%. And again, speak to a tax advisor, there's different ways around how to go through that process. It's not even as bad as 9% as you think. But when you go to any country or you look at any countries in the world, there's very small amounts now of 0% tax, and the others that have tax are minimum 9%. So we're in the minimum threshold. So you move to the UAE, you have no income tax on your personal, you have 9% corporate tax, which again has its different ways of working, and you have a much better life. For me, it's a no-brainer. And for thousands and thousands of companies per month that are moving here, expanding here, whatever it may be, they're backing that idea as well.
Okay, so 3 main points would be tax efficiency, opportunity, and quality of life.
Quality of life. The massive thing as well, which I think people underestimate, is the opportunities here. The opportunities in the UAE, I mean, it's the land of opportunities. That sounds so cliche, but really
it is. It
is. It's so cliche, but it really is. The amount of people that I know that are friends or friends of friends or companies that have moved here to do what they wanted to do, just do their A to B daily thing, that have ended up doing something more, better and prosperous as a result of moving here because of the people they meet and the people they speak to is phenomenal. And by the way, don't get me wrong, not everyone wants to move over here to live a flashy life or to be wealthy or whatever. Some people are doing amazing things just by moving here and having a better way of life, a better living space. You know, people talk about cost of living being expensive over here compared to other parts of Europe. You have to compare it to cities. You know, Dubai to London is not really much different, but you're not paying tax. So even, I believe it's less, but even if it was more, you're now not paying tax. So the affordability to live here is amazing, and not everyone has to live an incredibly fancy lifestyle.
On the palm with a Ferrari.
Exactly. Not everyone is like that. Not everyone is like that here, and you find yourself still grounded around friends and people and family here, just having a much better life with their families, with themselves. You know, waking up and being able to see the sun every day sounds so fickle, but it's a much better mood.
Of course, it makes all the difference.
You know, you call home and your dad's saying, oh, it's raining today.
It's been raining for the past 3 months, non-stop.
You know, when rain happens here, it's an hour. You know, that's the difference. It's simple, like you said, better way of life, the opportunities, and more money in your pocket. You know, at the end of the day, the whole world spins around on money. And not to be wealthy, but you need a loaf of bread, you have to pay for it.
Yep.
So everywhere you go in the world, you are using money to pay for something. If you're able to provide yourself a better opportunity by having more in your pocket to save, to invest, to spend on what you like, why would you not do it?
Buy a nice loaf of bread.
Buy a nice loaf of bread. Can't beat a good baguette.
No. Thanks, Ben. Pleasure as always to talk to you.
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate it, and it's great to speak to you.